Welcome to the Experience Matters podcast with your host, Kent Clothier Sr., and your co-host, Kevin Hommel.
Hello, everyone. Kent Clothier Sr. Welcome to the Experience Matters podcast. Joined by my co-host, Kevin Hommel today. We'll hear from him in just a second. Again, we want to welcome you to the Experience Matters podcast. You can find us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes, and also on the MemphisInvest.com website, where you can find the audio and visual. And we hope you join us. And again, hopefully we're bringing you some good content, something that you can take back and use it every day, whether you're an investor or whether you're a business owner or hope to be either one of those. Hopefully we're bringing you some good content. Kevin, we're getting close to 30 episodes here, I think. I'm not sure exactly what the count is.
Yeah, sounds about right. The last few, Chris has kind of stepped in, so appreciate him.
I think we're getting up there kind of high on our way to 100. So we're
upward and onward.
Onward to getting close to 30. So, Kevin, what's our topic today? And welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. Good to be back. I'm glad to be back in it. Our topic today is going to be, I think we've maybe talked a little bit about this, but we're going to spend the whole episode on surrounding yourself with great people throughout your career. And obviously, as we've expanded Memphis Invest, we continue to be sending our executives, you guys as owners, go to a lot of things. And I'm fresh off a mastermind last week where I got to spend 3 days in Tampa with Ryan Flannery, one of our other executives, around some really, really good people in the real estate industry. And so I thought we'd hit on that. Plus, there's another story from your past on you trying to do the same thing and surrounding yourself with good people and rising to leadership and all the stuff that goes along with that. So how's that sound?
That sounds great. Well, we talk all the time about, we're not really in the real estate business. We're in the people business. And again, we talked several episodes ago about the four groups of people that we have and how important they all are. And I know we share a lot of ideas and a lot of content with people. I know you just got back with Ryan with our company from a mastermind down in Orlando a couple of weeks ago. So take a second and tell us a little bit about that and why it was good for our guys and why it was good for the people that were there.
Yeah, so the group's called Collective Genius. It's Jason Medley and a group that Chris is really familiar with, and a lot of the folks in there, of course, know the family, the Clothiers, Kent Jr. as well. And Chris could not go this time, so he asked me to go sit in. Ryan had been before, but the group is really the movers and shakers in the investment real estate space. And it's funny that you said we're not really in the real estate business, because one of the main speakers, one of the main guys that puts this group on, in the very first thing he said, we're really here because we're all in the people business. So that was funny that there's that same belief from very successful people, but that was very clear in the room. The group is about 120 different businesses that are really high-level operators in the investment real estate space, and we are by far the largest company there, which I thought was interesting. So, but I think what makes our involvement in that group one, beneficial for us, but also beneficial for that group, is that we don't really go in there as we're the largest company, and y'all can all learn from us. We certainly share, and what we ended up sharing this time was our best practices for hiring people. But we got a lot out of it being there, myself and Ryan, as executives in this company, to all right, what are some things that, as big as we've gotten and as specialized as we are in our areas, some of the areas that we can do better maybe in buying or better in the way we do our research for properties. So everybody in that group, no matter how big or small the companies are by number of employees, there's a lot of high-level thinking, and that's part of the reason that we signed up and joined that group was, and not only can we help people in there, but they can help us and surround ourselves with people that are just thinking the right way. So, and it reminded me, Ken, obviously, of the RIA that you started. Gosh, how many years ago was that?
Boy, it's probably back in 07, 08, somewhere in there, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had that RIA to bring people together and create ideas and set different formats of opportunities for different people in the real estate space, and in us it kind of evolved into the turnkey, and where others it may evolved into just fix and flip, or just flipping houses, or wholesaling houses, or hoteling houses, whatever the case may be, or in the space that we're in the turnkey. But again, that was all about just bringing people together and sharing ideas. But the mastermind that you went to, and again, I know for those listeners that maybe not aware, there are a lot of masterminds out there in the real estate area, from the beginner level to the CEO level, that will bring experts together in these forums for 2 or 3 days, that sit around and figure out a lot of best practices that are working for other companies, and share a lot of ideas and a lot of insights, talk about a lot of situations and problem solving that these different people may have, and how that type of format can lead to more success in your business by being open and sharing with other people. And so what else did we pick up out of that? What was some of the contents you got down there in Orlando?
Well, one, it was great because we have the largest number of employees of any group that's there, so we did get to present, and we got a lot of response from people in the room that said, man, thank you so much for sharing what you shared about hiring. We talked a lot about average can't work here. I know our listeners have heard you say that so many times. But what we did was we talked about, let's say, 2010 to now, 8 years later, starting out with 10 or 12 people, and now at 90, and average still can't work here. And so really it was about protecting the culture that you've built while we've still grown. And that's what a lot of companies there are right at that point in their growth, where they're going to start to scale up with people in business. And so even being the largest really employer there, the largest company there, we still were able to pick up some maybe different ways to strategize on the way we buy houses, getting into more living rooms. That's a big deal with us with our direct mail that we've been doing. Learning from people that, like you said, maybe don't do turnkey, maybe don't do property management, but they've nailed the buying side because they're a wholesaler that can get their way into living rooms. And you know how many houses we buy from wholesalers. Mm-hmm. So learning some of their strategies, and a lot of them are in different parts of the country. I think one of the things that I learned the most is some cities that maybe weren't on our radar that should be on our radar for us to continue to serve our clients at a high level with properties in the right cities. So, and again, anytime you're building relationships, you know me, that's my sweet spot. So I loved working the rooms and meeting all the players that I've heard all their names and all their companies' names before, and going to that and bringing back something that we can really take and execute on. So,
well, again, the masterminds and the collective genius is a really, really good format. I think I'm supposed to go up to one out in June and talk or be interviewed on a couple hundred people. I'm not sure what it's all about, but I'm scheduled to be out there in middle of June, so I'm looking forward to doing that. But all of those events like that, again, give you the opportunity to, one, present for your company, and if you don't take criticism very well, you certainly don't want to be in a mastermind. Because
that is true.
The part of the process is that you come in a group of 10, 20, 30, 40, however many people, and you present maybe in 30 minutes a particular segment of your company, and you guys talked about best hiring practices. And then people will take some positive away from that, but they'll also give you some suggestions on maybe some things that you can do better, and which is the whole reason why we go to something like that, to try to figure out how we can learn to do things that we're doing better than what we are, and then share some of our success stories with other people that they may pick up some ideas from them. So did we pick up any ideas, Kevin, out there on how we can improve our best practices of hiring?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the guest speakers was one of the guys behind the 4 strategies of execution, the 4 disciplines of execution. He's the author that wrote that book. So anytime you get to hear a very high-level speaker, you talk to the authors and things out there, and coaches and consultants that have worked with very, very large companies. I think everyone there got to benefit from that. I've already brought a lot of that back to our VPs and worked on, all right, how can we implement this throughout the ranks of the company? Again, other markets that we should be looking at, the just the future relationships that'll happen. There was people there that lend money, so there's ways for us to borrow money differently. We have I'm going to say my list alone is probably 7 or 8 things that I brought back that can immediately improve our business. So,
Very good, very good, very good. How many days was it?
3 days.
3 days in
Yeah.
Orlando?
It was in Tampa.
Oh, in Tampa,
Yeah.
sorry.
So, and I think, obviously having a nice location is just cherry on top. I don't
Yeah.
think that really would have made it any less enjoyable if we were, somewhere cold, but it was still nice to be on a warm place and looking out over the ocean.
And Jason always gets the good cities like San Diego and Phoenix and Tampa and all of those things. But just a couple things on the best practices things and some of the things that we've talked about before, and you brought it up a minute ago about just try not to let average people get into our workforce. And so we've had a little bit of turnover here in the first quarter of 2018, some of it by our choice, some of it by other people's choice, where it just didn't work out. But we're trying to do a lot better job at interviewing people and having two or three different people interview them so that we can make sure that we're getting the type of person into our culture that has some of the same type of thinking that we have, some of the mindset that we have, and integrate them in there with our people that'll be a good fit and a good positive workspace environment for people that we bring in from the outside. Because not everybody is always used to what we do, and which is a high level of expectation, a high level of accountability, and we're always going to push people and stretch people to be even greater than what they ever thought they could be. Hopefully through inspiration and expectation that we can do that. And sometimes that works with us to where ordinary people just do extraordinary things sometimes, and just knocks us off our feet and surprises us a lot of time. And we have people every single day, week, and month that step up and just hit it out of the park and do things that maybe they didn't think that they could, and we may have thought it, but it sure surprises. But sometimes it doesn't surprise us because, again, we think sometimes people can do things that they don't think they're capable of. You just put them in the right environment with the right processes and systems, the right people, hold them accountable and turn them loose, and then really, really good things happen.
Yeah, and that was our topic of presentation at this group specifically. And so back to the original kind of idea there is even being a highly successful company, even having 15 years of experience and even being the industry leader in the turnkey space, we are still participating, spending money, going to things like this. It wasn't cheap to join the group. It wasn't cheap to take me out of the office for 3 days, Ryan out of the office for 3 days. But we know the value's there in being around people that are successful, because even being the best at what we do, we know we can still learn things. And so that's the real takeaway for this edition of the podcast, Ken, is the listeners out there that say, well, I'm already the best in my space, or I don't see any value in going to these seminars and things like that. I mean, you never know what you don't know until you go and expose yourself to other people that are successful that can see maybe something you don't see. I think that's a principle that a lot of business owners probably understand. We get maybe blind to the things that are right in front of us because we've got the rest of it almost on autopilot. So being around that, surrounding ourselves, it's just like the people that came to your RIA, and I was on the board of that when you started that before. I was actually working for you. I don't even know if you remember that, but
I don't remember that. But now it kind of comes back a little bit.
Yeah, and so those people that came to those meetings really were coming because you were the best in the business, and they wanted to learn from you. But I think you also had the little huddles and the side conversations that would happen, and we had a guest speaker at almost every luncheon that you put on, and so that was for us as a group. How do we learn and not only teach ourselves, but how do we help these people that are paying to be members of the group better their businesses?
Well, it's always about extending your education, and a lot of times companies think they know it all and can't get any better. But believe me, if you'll just reach out, and whether it's listen to a podcast like this or attending a mastermind group or attending a RIA or whatever, but meeting other people and sharing ideas and thoughts and ideas is really what it's all about. And so we encourage our listeners, whether you're an investor or whether you're an entrepreneur or newbie in whatever those fields are, that you get out and listen, ask a lot of questions and learn every single day on how you can get better. And again, it has a lot to do with people. And sometimes you got to spend a little money to get out there and learn new things and meet new people that can help you build your business and add value to not only to you, but to your company.
Yeah, and try to put yourself in rooms where you're not the smartest person in the room, because you can learn a lot. I'm going to tell you, the number of guys in that room that were data superstars is what I would call them, data rock stars. It was amazing. Younger guys that obviously understand the technology piece a lot better than some of us older guys do. It was amazing listening to them talk about programs and systems and how they integrate all this data and stuff. It was just neat to be around that.
So overall, out of that thing, was there more content on the real estate side or the IT side, or where did most of the info come from?
Yeah, it came from all angles, but all of it designed to help real estate professionals grow their businesses. That's really what the whole thing is about. So, and I will say this, Kent, as we presented, I asked how many people have listened to the podcast. Over half the room that I was in raised their hand. So everybody out there right now listening, a few of them are going to be these guys that are in that room. And so if you're listening and you hear this, you're part of Collective Genius. It sounds like Jason and Ken are working on a little interview set up for the June meeting, which will be in San Diego, so you won't want to miss that for sure. Kent will be bringing the magic as he always does. So.
Well, every time we run into somebody that says they listen to the podcast, I'm always kind of surprised, because when we started this about 30 episodes ago, I didn't think anybody was going to listen to it. And today we have over 20,000 people that have looked at or listened or watched the podcast that you and I have been doing, most of them, Kevin, since we started. And so I know, so people are hungry for information and content out there. We do have a lot of experience. Our company's been doing this a long, long time. I've been in business almost 50 years, and bring a few ideas and a few thoughts. Then we got, between Kevin and Chris and Brett and different people on our podcast from time to time, there's a lot of good information, a good content on there for you guys to listen to and take advantage. What else today, Kevin?
That's it. Just don't forget, even if you're the most successful person in your industry and your space, you can always get better, and you can always humble yourself by surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you that are also doing well, and see what you can learn.
Well, again, wrapping up, the people are the most important thing, whether you're dealing with people that you're buying from or selling to. In our particular case, it's 4 groups of people. It's the investors that we serve, it's our residents, it's our vendors, and it's the people that work for us. And we work on those 4 groups of people and getting the right mix in there. And I encourage you all to work on those 4 groups of people, because you'll have success a lot quicker if you can figure out how to perfect those groups there, which we haven't, but we're doing a pretty good job of it, and always trying to get better on those 4 areas. That you will have success in your business if you work on those areas. So again, we thank you for listening to us today. Kevin, thank you for joining us today.
You bet.
We want to remind you that you can find us at memphisinvest.com, on Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes. And any questions, you can feel free to leave them there for us, and we'll get them back, and we'll get them on one of the episodes for you. And again, I think we're up to close to 30 episodes. Over 20,000 people have listened or viewed our podcast, which we thank everybody for all of that. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on Experience Matters. You can listen and subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Be sure to visit us at memphisinvest.com.